do the right thing, right? I wasn't quite sure. As a human, you're scared. As a human, you have doubt. Like, hey, what's going to happen now?
A lot of young people, and I'm talking about in their 20s, even 30s.
Right.
Or even, it doesn't even matter what age. If they haven't had a life of discipline or haven't been successful, they make up excuses why they shouldn't show up.
My business picked up like night and day.
Wow.
Night and day. 40,000 one year, 80,000 the second year, 150, 250, every year 450. 500,000 each year.
Wow.
At that moment, just by showing up in the morning.
If you want to be successful, you listen to the people that are successful, that have what you want.
Right.
And very often, whether it's real estate, insurance, solar, just sales in general, business in general, the spouse is not the one that you should be taking the advice from when it comes to money-making opportunities. Hey guys, welcome to the Driven Not Given podcast. And man, I've got a treat for you guys here. This gentleman here, we've known each other for over a decade, and this has been a long time coming,
right.
Man. So he's a real estate broker, owns a couple of Century 21 offices, just an absolute stud. And you're actually the connection that, for me to play poker at Bruce Buffer's house. Remember that?
That's right. Yeah.
How you doing, brother?
Good, man. Hey, man, it's a pleasure to be here on your podcast, man. Definitely. It's been a long time coming. That's for sure.
Thank you, bro.
We've been knowing each other for a very, very long time. So, man, I'm just having flashbacks right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Back in those days. So, great stuff, man.
I remember that was a fun time. But first of all, I want to mention two things. That's a great looking shirt you got, bro.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Man.
One of the last ones, that I got going on from those days. So
custom, huh?
Yeah. You got to, man. You got to have your signature.
That's right. I have one that was built like that, very, very similar with my name on it.
Yeah,
Problem is, it doesn't fit me anymore, bro. I got it done.
I feel you on that.
Yeah.
I feel you on that,
I got it done a long time ago, man, I don't know, 8 years ago. And I was a lot thinner then than I am now, bro. So I just got, I just
look
decided.
fit though, man. You look fit.
Thanks, bro.
Sure.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So I just got to go and get some new ones, right? It's all good. Because I also want to put on size now. I'm 41 now. So now I want to just start lifting weights and stuff and put on size. So I don't plan on it fitting me.
Right.
So I'll just get some new ones. And then the car's looking nice, bro.
Oh, yeah. No, I appreciate it, brother. Thank you, man.
Thanks, bro.
It's it's just evidence of the work ethic that I got going on,
That's right, man.
That's what it is.
So when we were talking a couple of weeks ago, Edwin, you mentioned you were telling me about the story about your inspiration since a kid, about a red sports car.
Right.
Yeah. So before we get into the details of nuts and bolts, the value, this is some value too, because we all had dreams as kids, right?
Correct.
And I always talk about that. Very often people go from being grown-ups to giving-ups. Mm-hmm. The dreams that they had when they were younger, they just give up on them. They don't even think about them anymore. So your story about this car was very inspiring. So can you tell me a little bit about that story?
No, definitely. That's probably what got us here, right? When we had that conversation. But I've always been a dreamer. I've always been a dreamer. I've always been in front of that TV, sitting in that living room floor, and my dad there, and I'm just watching TV, watching MTV with the music videos and all these rappers back then with the cars. And I used to watch success movies that really what I remember. This is what I remember, right? Is I look for patterns. I guess not purposely, but just patterns stick to me.
Sure.
And what I noticed back then as a kid, watching movies, specifically business movies or anything that do with success.
Yeah.
That successful man, when that movie scene that when they walked out of that building or they walked out of that house.
Yeah.
It was always the car that they had was a red sports car.
Right.
A red sports car. Right? The Ferraris, the Porsches. And it was, but why was it always red? Like it was some sort of symbol, right, of success. A symbol of I made it. And so it was being programmed to me over time that, hey, that was something that I needed to acquire when I had the opportunity to, right? Not when I needed to or I had to have in the beginning. No, because it's not about timing, right? But at the end of the day, that's what happened. So the time came where I said, you know what? When I get the next Porsche, I'm gonna get a red one, and for sure it was the royal red Porsche car, and that's where it was. So it inspired me, and sometimes when we dream that big, it becomes a reality when it just is in your brain,
That's
at the end of the day. So That's
start to think about it, right? And start to, I truly believe that thoughts are things, like the book, The Science of, Think and Grow Rich says.
Right.
Or it's either Think and Grow Rich or The Science of Getting Rich. Thoughts are things. And I believe that's true. Everything starts with a thought. Everything is created twice, first in the mind, then the physical. And I think most kids, they have, especially boys, right? I'm sure girls do too, right? But the vision of one day having the sports car, right? And being that successful person and whatnot, right? Especially then when you become a teenager, the motivation of girls, right, becomes that motivation, right? But unfortunately, I think that most people give up on those dreams just like, oh, that's unattainable, or it would be too long of a road, too hard of a road to get there. But you always envision a red sports car. So when you got this car, I remember you mentioned that your son was telling you, hey, let's go look at the cars.
Right, yeah. And so it lasted for a month. Every weekend, right, Saturday morning, he would come to my room. Yeah. And either if I'm there or not, he would say, hey, let's go. When are we going to go to the dealership, the Porsche car? Like,
Sure.
I said, not now, mijo, not now. Some other time. I would just basically tell him, not now. And in order for him to forget, like, I'm not going. I'm not going to go, right? After a month, the boy's persistent. He just doesn't give up. My wife can tell you this, that he's persistent. He just will not forget about certain things.
Yeah.
And so he pushed me to that level where, like, all right, let's go. So I had the Panamera before, and I wanted to go check out the cars, and sure enough, we saw the red one there, and I'm like, okay, let me talk to my boy Nick, and for sure, we started looking at it, started talking numbers, and I looked to my left, he was sitting next to me. I looked at my boy right there, and I looked at him. I'm like, shit, man, am I gonna do this? I haven't even told my wife. My wife thought we're just gonna go check out the car,
right?
And that's ballsy to even go to go get a Porsche and not tell your wife, right? But luckily I married right, and she was happy about it. She was happy for both of us, happy for all of us. And at the end of the day, we went to go get it. I pulled the trigger, right? And there's a thing where you commit now and you figure it out later.
Yeah.
Right? Because it was a big jump from Panamera to 911.
Right.
It's two different classes, right?
Yeah.
The engine's in the back. It's just a total different reaction from the Panamera and to now.
Yes.
And so that being said, the payment's different, right?
Yep.
But I understood exactly why I was getting it. And he was an inspiration to me. And I did a video of him in the car for the first time. And it really, as a man, it really kind of like made you even more complete, right? Like, wow, this is something that I'm doing for my son.
Right.
He's excited. He's kind of like, he has a little bit of autism. He's like this, all shaking, exciting.
Yeah.
He's like excited. And he just like loves the engine roar and everything else.
Right,
and I'm like, it made me happy for all the work and all the things that we would do for years, right?
Yes.
Waking up when others weren't, going to other places and doing the things, going through the suffering, going through the pain and everything else.
Yep.
It was a culmination of what that is, and seeing your kids be happy and being that, especially the boy, right? Because the boy is looking at his father. And like you said this before, right? You want to be your son's superhero, right? And so the same way with me, right?
Yes.
I want him to go to class and be asked, who's your hero? As my dad's my hero.
That's right.
Right? Not Spider-Man, not Superman. I remember, right?
Yeah,
it's exactly the things that we want from our kids, right? Same thing with our daughters. And so it's something that it's very satisfying, but we're not done yet because there's a lot of still raising up for these kids to do, right? In other words, how to raise them correctly because they go through different stages. But it's just the beginning at the end of the day. Yeah.
I love that story, bro. And then giving that to your son, right? And he sees the hard work that you put in. And when you accomplish that, now you're also making him think bigger than he probably would have if you didn't step up your game, right? I remember before I was a father, I used to think, one day I'm going to have a son and I'm going to be his hero. I don't know why, I just knew I was going to have a son. Now we've got two, Maximus and Alexander. I call them the great Maximus and Alexander the Great, right?
Great.
So
that's a great parent.
I believe in speaking greatness into your life and speaking greatness into your kids. And so that was my goal. And I remember a couple years ago, my son said to me, Daddy, when I grow up, I want to be like you.
Nice.
And like a month ago, a month ago, I'm taking him to school, and he says, Daddy, I want to be like you when I get older. That right there is priceless, bro, because, that was a vision of mine for a long time. I want to raise him, obviously, with our values and stuff, is showing him that he could do and be anything he wants if he puts his mind to it, right? And really like goes after it. That's why we believe a lot in sports, like you do, in martial arts, right? So, no, yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man. So
it is, man, and it inspires you to push you even much more on another level, right? And he definitely. It's funny because your son's name is Maximus, the oldest one, and my son's name is Maximiliano.
Nice,
right?
Nice.
And when I was 25 years old, I said if I ever have a boy, his name would be Maximiliano, right? And I had him at 37. So really, it kind of you manifested into that, right? And so it's definitely something to kind of see and appreciate, as we go on.
Bro.
So
I love
it's a great thing,
So let's do this. You got the car, you've got the family, right? You've got the offices. What got you there, bro? How long have you been in real estate now?
I've been in real estate since 2008. Actually, I used to work for Boeing, right? The software, the big aerospace company,
right?
That's off killing people after they tell people.
Right.
Good thing I got out on time.
Right.
They tell me, hey, they send me these articles. Hey, man, you got out on time, man. But I quit in 08. I read this book called, I'm sure our viewers, know about this, and hopefully our viewers know about this, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
That's right.
Robert Kiyosaki. I read that book in April 2008. I was still working at Boeing as a software engineer, and I quit 4 months later in August 2008. That book single-handedly made me quit my job.
Wow.
Right? It was a great paying job. I was making $95,000 a year in 2008. I Googled it like a month, 2 months ago, and what it is in today's terms is $215,000 a year.
Wow.
At that. No, I'm sorry. I got the numbers reversed. 175,000, I think.
Got it.
And I'm like, wow, I'm making that much money at 28, right? And they had paid for USC. So that's another $90,000 a year that they added on top of it.
Wow.
Free ride and everything else. So I had a good job. I had a good position. Software engineer level 3. I mean, there's no reason for me to quit. Benefits was just there, right? And Boeing, prestigious job, Fortune 100 company. Why would I quit?
Right.
But I wasn't happy, right? The 9 to 5 thing wasn't me. I'm not good with authority. I'm not good with being contained. My life was just going away. I was getting older. I would remember being in the parking lot, the 91 parking lot, the freeway, right? And listening to Big Boy, Neighborhood Power 106 back then. And it was the same thing over again. It's like that movie Groundhog Day.
Oh yeah.
Right? And so it's the same thing over again. I thought to myself, is this my life?
Right.
Is this where I just got pegged into?
Damn.
Like this wasn't it. So the book Rich Dad Poor Dad made me quit my job, and I said, like, it opened my eyes. See, this is the problem. They need to teach this in high school.
Yes.
Entrepreneurship. All these things they don't. They just teach about biology and calculus too. Don't get me wrong. I took all those classes, right? Sure. And the logic behind it, you apply it now. But reality, they need to apply that stuff. And I've been trying to knock on my high school, Linwood High School, to do a career, be there for career day.
Yeah.
I think you've done it for Southgate, right? And I want to do that there because I want to open the eyes to these students.
Yes.
But going back to the point where I quit, told my boss, hey, I'm done. Cool. Got my box, and that was the last. I remember the last day I turned through the turnstile and got in my truck, and I left, and I was like, is this something did I do the right thing, right? I wasn't quite sure. As a human, you're scared. As a human, you have doubt. Like, hey, what's going to happen now?
Right.
3 weeks later, the market crashes.
Oh, shit.
So,
wow.
Can you imagine that point now? I'm like, damn, what now? Like, I can't go back to my job and say, hey, guys, I was just kidding. Can I have my job back?
Right.
It wasn't going to happen. So I came to terms. I said, look, I made the decision. It is what I did. It is what it is.
Sure.
I just got to tighten up my belt and keep going forward.
Yep.
At the end of the day, that's it.
Yep.
And so sure enough, I had $80,000 in my 401k at that moment, and I was 28, and I wasn't mature yet. Why did I say that? It's because I was going out to clubs, going out partying, taking money out from my 401k, acting like I'm making money, showing people, impressing people that don't matter that I was making money, but on the actuality is I was just putting money for my 401k. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, that money depleted. And in 2011, or 2010, I was completely broke.
Damn.
Dead broke. I was living in my dad's garage. I was just going through a lot of issues. Looking back now, I went through some depression. I was drinking every single time.
Wow.
You know, it was just a lot of things that I was going through. And I just remember like those moments where you would stare at, you know, I would stare at the night, right, at the moon, and ask myself, God, is this it for me? Is this it? Like, is this it? Show me a sign. Show me a star. Show me something that this is not it. I'm gonna be all right. I'm gonna bounce back from this, right?
Yep.
And I would cry because I had a 2-year-old daughter at the moment, right? And at that point, my girlfriend, you know, wasn't happy with me. Was what I was doing. I was just drinking every weekend.
Yeah. I
was drinking to forget about how broke I was during the week.
Damn.
Right? On the weekends, I was just drinking to the point where I didn't care about reality. But I hated Monday mornings because I was starting realizing, shit, I'm back to square one. I'm back to like ground zero, right? And now I had to figure out where to get money to get gas. You know, I was too prideful to ask my dad.
Yeah.
He was already giving me his garage to live in.
Right.
And I just didn't even want to ask him for more money because it was my decision. And I wanted to make it hard on myself to realize. Because if I asked him for money, can you imagine my dad giving me money, an allowance of some sort, grown-ass man? I'm like, no, I'll never get out of that fucking garage. You know, so I had to figure out how to do things. So I was out there fixing computers, whatever I knew to do at that time while my real estate business was trying to pick up, I was doing, right? Fixing computers, I was doing taxes, I was taking photos of homes that were foreclosing, getting paid $85, you know, whatever scraps I could take, right? Sure. And then eventually, my daughter was now 2. She went to daycare, and I started taking her to school because she was near my house. But I was still going to drop her off with my flip-flops and my shorts in the mornings. The school had a guideline policy, said if your daughter's late 3 times at school, she's kicked out of the program.
Oh, wow.
So she had to be in by 8 o'clock in the morning. So it forced me to be up early.
Yeah.
Right? Before that, by the way, I would show up at the house by 1 afternoon.
Wow.
And my dumbass excuse was, well, nobody's here for me. Why would I show up in the morning? Right? And there's no appointments I got.
Right.
Like, dummy, do work. You have set up appointments, then you show up.
That's right.
But my maturity wasn't there. My discipline wasn't there. And so for me, it was just stupid excuses that I was making to make me feel better about myself.
To justify. Because
the human nature wants to feel good all the time.
Yeah.
And they try to convince themselves, this is happening because there's no appointment, so it's okay for it to show up at 1 o'clock.
Yep.
And that's not the right mindset.
Nope.
And so sure enough, what happened is I used my daughter's school schedule to say, you know what am I doing? Let's get ready, suit up, boot up, take her to school, and go straight to the office.
Right.
And lo and behold, for the next 2 years, my business picked up like night and day.
Wow.
Night and day. 40,000 one year, 80,000 the second year, 150, 250, every year 450. 500,000 each year at that moment, just by showing up in the morning.
Wow.
So those kids out there listening, show up in the morning, show up early, get ready, and go to work.
That's right.
Get to work. You know, that's it. That's basically what it is, man. And so that's how it happened back then. And at that point, eventually went into some ownership. But, you know, that's a different story there.
Wow. You know what? You bring up a lot of great points, man, because a lot of young people, and I'm talking about in their 20s, even 30s,
right?
Or even, it doesn't even matter what age. If they haven't had a life of discipline or haven't been successful, they make up excuses why they shouldn't show up, right, early, or why they shouldn't show up at all, or why they shouldn't show up to the training. I got a guy that we teach all the time in our business, solar business and team building. Every damn training that we put on, you got to be there. You got to be prospecting every day. Mm-hmm. I say, if we have a training, let's say on a Saturday morning, we have Super Saturdays like once a month. There's only one reason to not show up is if you got to go to a funeral and you're the one in the box.
Right.
Outside of that, you show up to the freaking training.
Correct.
So one guy I talked to, he says, yeah, you know what? I was supposed to go and I should have gone. And he admitted he should have gone. He says, but my spouse says, well, you don't have a guest So why should you go? Because what we do is we do a business presentation followed by training. And I said, see, your spouse has never made big money, has never been successful in business, much less this business. You don't listen to, if you want to be successful, you listen to the people that are successful, that have what you want.
Right.
And very often, whether it's real estate, insurance, solar, just sales in general, business in general, the spouse is not the one that you should be taking the advice from when it comes to money-making opportunities, or when it comes to your, unless let's say, for example, you and your spouse, you're both in the business, makes sense.
Right.
You guys know the business, but most of the time,
to her all the time, and
bro.
About,
So sometimes people got to realize, no, bro, you got to train yourself and you got to train your spouse on, this is the sacrifice that I've got to do. I got to be in the office early, but you don't have clients, you don't have appointments. That's irrelevant. I will get there and make things happen.
Correct.
Right. And so same thing with, like we do prospecting as well, door knocking, like in real estate. And I got some people say, I want to be successful. And I'm like, I got one guy that he went out for the weekend with his girlfriend. And then I said, so a week later I talked to him and said, hey, what was your activity last week? He says, I didn't really do much because we came back on Monday. They went like on a weekend trip, right? He says, we came back on Monday and, we drank a lot that weekend and stuff. And I was recovering, honestly, for a couple of days. And I didn't really hit the field last week. I said, but hold on. I said, can I be honest with you? He says, yes. I said, your ass should have never been out for the weekend. Because didn't you say that you are low on funds, that you don't have a lot of money right now? He says, yes. What the hell are you doing? You know what it was? Another couple invited them to go out of town. Like, sure, we'll go out of town. But like, bro, your ass is broke. You got nothing to celebrate, and you don't deserve to be out of town. You know where you should have been? You should have been freaking knocking.
Yeah.
You're acting like you're one of these guys that already has the results, that deserves to go out there and party, to go out there and have a good time. Then so not only do you set yourself back financially because you're spending money you don't got, but you come back and you have an unproductive week because of your lack of discipline.
Right.
And that's what most people don't understand. You got to have that freaking discipline.
Yeah.
Like you went through that time where you're like, you probably felt, I don't want to speak for you, but I've been in a place where I felt like, man, I'm like a freaking bum. I'm broke. I'm not doing anything productive. There goes another day. Right. And then eventually I got it in gear. You too, you got it in gear. Then you started to realize, you started to build momentum. Then boom, the rest is history.
Right.
Do you see that happening in real estate too, bro?
All the damn time, man. All the damn time. And honestly, more so, there's a combination of two things. One, I'm getting older.
Right.
And I'm losing patience, and I know exactly what needs to be done to get it done.
Yes.
Right? Yes. And some of these kids that got licensed, a lot of them got licensed during COVID.
Yeah.
So can you imagine a time where all you had was social media?
Yep.
You couldn't door knock.
Right.
You couldn't go out there and go to the office and call. I did. I had a speakeasy office during that time. I don't go by the rules. I go by what it is.
Yep.
And whatever. Now I can say it, but back then we had a speakeasy office. We had all the agents there, but everyone else, all they had was social media.
Yep.
So imagine getting licensed, and you start off with just doing social media, and most of these kids, they never changed their ways.
Right.
Because now that COVID's over, they don't know how to door knock. They don't know how to cold call. They don't know how to prospect correctly, the fundamentals back how it was before COVID.
Right.
So all you see now is, let me spend $250 on media, on marketing, and look great on video, and pretend that I'm making money.
Right.
And then watch myself maybe 100 times on that reel, wasting time not doing the work.
That's right.
Right? Not caring about nothing, just counting your likes. Counting your likes, counting your fucking dollars. How about that?
That's right.
You know what I mean? That's what I'd rather count.
That's fire right there,
You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's what I'd rather do. And at the end of the day, that's what we have to understand. We got to do the work first, then capture that on social media.
Right.
Don't do social media and then pretend that's work.
Yep.
That's two different mindsets.
Yes.
And I think that's the thing that we need to understand. And once they hit rock bottom, and they won't show that on social media, not many people post failures out there.
Nope.
And people are comparing
just a highlight reel.
Right? Just a highlight reel, and now that person is following it. It's like, oh, I'm not doing shit. First of all, stop being a consumer on social media.
Yep.
Be the person on stage.
Yes.
Right? When you have a mentality, you're on stage, you're posting social media with value. Right?
Yes.
When the moment you're a consumer, You're going to consume all that, and you're going to consume whatever's out there. You can compare yourself to that. You're going to feel like shit. You ain't shit, and that's what you'll be.
That's right.
Right? Instead of that, just turn that shit off and just get to work. Put your horse blinders on, climb the mountain, climb that mountain. From time to time, look down. Okay, I got this.
Sure.
But still look up, because there's a bigger mountain behind that one.
That's right.
Right? And continue to go on from there. And that's really what I want to tell everyone else. I tell my agents the same thing, is that we just got to do the fundamentals and focus on the work. Forget about social media. Forget about all that stuff. That's just noise.
Yes.
That's all it is, just noise. We're getting into gimmicks now, right?
Yep.
And people, I mentioned this in my other part, where people are putting wrestling mask on, like, oh, I'm lucha libre realtor. I'm this. I'm the bandit realtor. Like, oh, hey, I'm like, what the fuck?
Wow.
I'm like, dude, just get to work. What is this?
Oh shit!
That's
funny.
And it just tells them, man. I mean, it's embarrassing sometimes. It's an interesting era that we're going with.
Yeah.
And you see other people calling me for other different reasons. And to me, here's the thing. And I'll talk about other multiple businesses. I'm good with having multiple businesses.
Sure. Yeah.
But stick with one first to become expert on that one. Make a shitload of money on that business. And then when we have excess money, then start getting into other ventures.
Yeah, I think too many people are caught up with multiple streams of income. And yes, you do need, but in due time.
Right. Yeah.
It's multiple streams, not multiple trickles.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So get one, be successful at it consistently and persistently over X amount of time, then go out there and open other verticals. But too many people say, I want to, like, the word entrepreneurship is very loosely used. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And in sales, going back to, what you mentioned about social media, I see it all the time. Real estate people, solar people, insurance people, some of my own guys, I'm like, bro, what are you doing on social media portraying something that you're not? Your butt should be door knocking. Your butt should be prospecting. You should be networking, handing out 100 business cards a day. Like we have it easy. Like there's like 40 to 1 real estate agents to solar agents, right? I'm like, real estate, there's more competition than you guys have. You literally could call 50 agents a day. Ask them if they're working with a solar pro. Nobody's really doing that. Like if you want the activity is there. Mm-hmm. But you know what they're doing? Or they'll finally get an install. And then they will, oh man, I'm gonna go spend $150 on making a reel for this and stuff like that. And then they haven't prospected in a week. Or they'll have like a couple of sales, and then what they did to get them those sales, now they're chilling, they're relaxing, they're going out to lunch in the middle of the day and stuff with friends. It's like, bro, you're not rich yet.
Right.
You got to keep, in sales, you got to keep filling the pipeline all the damn time. Like I tell my guys, if you want to really start to be a baller, you got to have 10 sales on the way to install at any given time, always and consistently. 10 sales is the standard, meaning if I get below 10 sales, it's like my car is on E. Mm-hmm. I got to keep filling the pipeline, right? Like when I was on the field selling, bro, I had 60 sales on average on the way to install at any given time. Mm-hmm. And I had 1,600 salespeople, right? So I tell people 10 is a bare minimum. If you're, because what'll happen? People start counting their chickens before they hatch, right? I'm sure, in real estate, they got a couple of escrows, and then, I'm going to take a week off from prospecting.
They already spent their mind anyway, so yeah.
In their mind, they're already counting, the money, and they're already spending it and stuff like, no, bro, you got to be consistent. And too many people they think posting stories on social media or posting reels is prospecting, is building their business. Yeah. No, that's for your ego, bro. Right. For your bank account, you got to go. It's a belly-to-belly business. You got to go and meet people. Right. When I started in the solar industry, I started 2 weeks after the pandemic, bro. Late March 2020. I know we weren't supposed to door knock. I'm like you, right? And like the speakeasy office and whatnot. But, bro, I was like, that's when I had lost over $1 million. I was flat broke. And I told my wife, we're going to get us out of this. I was door knocking 2 weeks after the pandemic with a mask hanging. Mm-hmm. So when they would open the door, I'd put the mask back on. But you know what? I said, my identity is the identity of a winner. Mm-hmm. And winners do what losers are not willing to do. What losers won't even consider doing, winners are going to do. And I'm going to figure this thing out, right? Yeah. Because the philosophy I have is I don't have anything in common with these mediocre-minded people that make excuses that are over here, thinking that social media is going to make them rich. Bro, there's 0.001% of people that are going to make it work, right? Which I want to talk about your guy that's making it work. Now, if you know how to actually do it right and you're generating business, bro, more power to you.
Correct.
But most of these guys, they're doing it for the likes and for their ego, and then later on they're broke. And what people need to understand is that, like you said, nobody's going to share their losses. They're going to share their highlight reel. It's fugazi, right? They're posting the picture that they posted. They don't really look like that. All the wins they're posting, most of them have a gang more losses that they're not going to advertise.
Right.
What a lot of people need to do is they got to take that season of separation, separate from some friends, separate from social media, and go and put their head down for a year and work their butt off,
right,
and then come out and finally do it, right?
Yeah.
So I know that you mentioned that you had a guy that's crushing it on social media, right? Which is one of the exceptions.
Right. It is. And I'm glad that we're talking about this because a lot of beginning entrepreneurs out there who are on social media right now,
right,
and seeing these highlight reels and walking, out of this house and with sunglasses on, everything else. Oh, that must be success. That must be the work.
Right.
But they don't show the mundane work.
Yes.
Like the boring work, the work that no one wants to do. That's not on social media because it's not sexy. It doesn't sell.
Right.
And I'm glad we're talking about this. And the viewers are watching this. You get two viewers. One will be like, damn, that's what I needed to hear.
That's right.
Two, they're just talking shit. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yep.
Oh, they're just hating. Not. That's the thing about it. If you're a viewer watching this, we're telling you this from the truth. But yes, going back to my man Victor, shout out to Victor Gutierrez from Machicagamanga office. He is an exceptional. I call him a unicorn.
Yeah,
he's a unicorn. I go, bro, you're a unicorn. Like you realize that. And the great thing about him is that he's not even like from the jump. He's a humble dude, man. Humble dude, always learning. He's a student. Like he shows up to every meeting, every trainings, even to this day. I mean, he's only been in the business for at this point 18 months. Right. Crushed it last year. Almost got this coveted award from Central 21 called the Centurion Award, which not many get. Wow. He was able to almost got it. He was like $40,000 short from getting that award in 2023. And then he said, screw that, I'm going to get it in April. So it took him only 4 months this year to get that Centurion Award.
Whoa.
He's already on his way to get a double Centurion.
So what is that? What is it?
So, I'm glad you asked me that. To obtain a Centurion Award this year, you have to commission $276,000.
Nice.
So he got that in April.
Dang.
Right? So now...
So his first 4 months of the year.
Yeah.
Wow.
So regularly it takes someone around November, October to get it, and maybe the last days of the year to get Centurion.
Yep.
And so he was able to get it in April. Now he's on his way to go double Centurion, which is $585,000. Wow. And then the Grand Centurion is $985,000.
Nice.
He's projected to go $1 million, right? At this point.
Yeah.
People say, he's just a one-hit wonder. And, people made a remark when he got the first, he was number one producer for the Downey Association. And the association has 3,600 realtors. Wow. There's not just Downey's, Norwalk, Montebello, Downey, obviously, and all their city is Southgate, and he was number one, right? And he got that award, Platinum Award. Right. And I made a great post about him because that's what a broker should do is recognize him. And I said, hey, here's number one realtor of the first quarter. Like, hey, man, just first quarter is a marathon. Yeah. Although, I everything by design. I don't shoot myself in the foot. Right. I know this cat's going to do another big quarter for second quarter. And sure enough, he's already, right now, year to date, 34 closings. So that means that he's going to be number one again in the second quarter. I can guarantee you this. Wow. So, he's projected to be number one in the whole association for sure. Wow. And, what I like about him is, he attends trainings, he takes notes. He shares the notes in the group chat. Like, he copies and pastes it in the group chat. Wow. Here you go, guys. And so, man, team player. We're blessed. We're blessed to have him. It's amazing. Him and his amazing wife as well. She's a loan officer. Nice. Danya Gutierrez, who's been amazing. And that young couple is I can tell you this right now, in boxing, when people talk about these up-and-coming boxers, these up-and-coming couple, everybody's going to be talking about them in a few years. And then I'm just humbled and very proud to have him on our camp.
That's awesome, man.
And he's actually doing it the right way, where he has a story, and he'll tell you more about it, where he was just consistent with posting reels, posting the right reels, and kind of adjusting these reels to get these likes and viral and going viral. And sure enough, after 3-4 months, from going like maybe 10 likes to now averaging 3,000 likes.
Wow.
Right? Not getting bots, not getting any of this stuff, just natural likes.
Right.
And getting DMs it took work, but he didn't quit. And now every time he posts things, it just goes. It just goes. And he showed me his DMs. He has all these DMs that he needs to catch up on.
Wow.
And these are real people asking for the house, asking for how to get qualified. And he just keeps going. So he's like 18 escrows right now at the moment. His pipeline's 18 escrows. At any given time, 18 escrows.
That's crazy.
Right? That is unheard of in this market.
Yeah, in this market especially, bro.
Right? And the average, closings I see right now, year to date, especially those guys who are posting these reels, they got 6 to date, year to date. Wow. 5 year to date.
Right.
Like, this guy already has 34 and 38 and counting. By the time we're done with this podcast, probably class 2 escrows right now.
Right.
So it's amazing to see, man. Cool, and he's one of the few that is doing it right. And I wish there were more. I mean, I'm not here to talk crap about the others, but I want others to do the same. Yeah. We need to change the game on that, and people realize, like, social media is powerful, but you just got to do it correctly.
Yep.
Don't do it for the ego. Don't do it for the vanity.
Yep.
Do it for the work. Do it for the business. This is the business we're in.
Yep.
That's it. We're in a business. You got to have a customer list. You got to have a CRM. You got to have all that going on behind the scenes.
Yes.
And that's a thing to see, man, and much power to him.
No, that's awesome. There's very few people, right, that can actually use social media to be productive, because social media is a double-edged sword, right? You can use it to promote and get business. In my case, I get clients. I recruit a lot. I'm big on, I'm a recruiter.
Right.
So I recruit a whole lot with Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, everything, right? But I use social media. I don't let it use me, right? And if you look at everything, there's more distractions now than ever. There's more comfort now than ever, and that's why people are soft. I always mention this, and I'm one of the people that mentions this very often. There's a guy named Stefan Areno. I think he passed away a couple years ago. And he mentions how tough people, tough men, strong men create easy times. Easy times create tough times. Easy times create weak men because they're easy times. Mm-hmm. Weak men create tough times, and then tough times create strong men, and the cycle continues. Right. I think we're in those easy times that is creating a lot of weak people. Mm-hmm. Social media, I'm going to confuse myself, and I'm going to post a bunch of stories, and that's my prospecting, bro, because they don't want to get outside of their comfort zone. Oh, it's hot. Especially here. We live in California, bro. Mm-hmm. There's people that are door knocking in the summers in freaking Arizona, in Texas, in Nevada. Yeah. And these people are so soft. Not everybody. Mm-hmm. So I'm not coupling everybody here. But the majority of the people are soft. They're not willing to do everything is convenient. Back in the days, if you went to the drive-thru and got something, bro, you just want a convenience. Why don't you cook for yourself? Now you don't have to do that. Mm-hmm. You could be at home watching Netflix, binge watching Netflix, eating some peanut brittle, and then order some stuff. Boom, boom, boom. Here it is. I don't have to get up and cook. I don't even have to get up and get it. Somebody made it for me. I'm convenient. Yeah, I'm kind of broke. Hopefully my card goes through. But guess what? I'm convenient. And that's why most people are freaking soft. Mm-hmm. Even dating nowadays. Yeah. You don't got to go out there and meet somebody. Let me download an app and swipe. That uncomfort. Success requires uncomfort until the uncomfort becomes comfortable. Mm-hmm. Right, but most people they want to be comfortable all their life, and success exists on the other side of the comfort zone, and so that's why it's very, like you call them, a unicorn, right? He does great on social media. That's great, and I say often, comparison is a thief of joy. A lot of times people say, "Oh, look at this guy," like your guy. He's got great. Again, that's a unicorn. That's what people need to capture from this. Mm-hmm. The majority of the people, you're gonna have to get out there and get people to know what you do. One of the things I tell my agents, I say, you got to get, as soon as humanly possible, 200 people to know, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that you are the solar specialist. Mm-hmm. Yep. Like when they think solar, right? Yeah, when they think solar, oh, I got a guy.
Correct. Yep.
That doesn't mean that you told 200 people. That means that 200 people know beyond the shit. That means you got to tell 500 or 1,000.
Yep.
You got to portray yourself as a professional, right? And you got to get out there and mix it up, right? You got to hand out your business cards, your flyers, go to network, shake more hands than everybody else. And you got to act as if right now. You got to put in that effort. And that's what most people are not willing to do.
Yeah. I tell the same thing to my agents. You got to be their number one when they think about real estate. Because if you're not number one, I can assure you we'll never get that call.
Right.
Because you're number 2, 3, and 4, you're going to lose out on that call, and you're going to lose out on $40,000.
Yep.
You're going to lose out on that check.
Yep.
At the end of the day, that's what you got to be able to understand. That you got to brand yourself as to be number one. You know, the other ones, they're not doing the work, right? And by the way, portray yourself on social media as a professional.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
If they see you drinking, clubbing it up, VIP, bottle service, drinking up at 2 in the morning, they're not going to call you on a Sunday morning to reach their home. They're not. So be careful what you put out there.
Yes,
you know what I mean? At the end of the day, that's the other part that you got to understand is that people are watching. And they may not call you, but when the time comes, they're going to think of you because they consistently see you do the work.
Yes.
And they trust you by just watching you.
That's right.
And they see you enjoying what you do.
Yes.
See, I tell the agent in the Monday mornings, like, you don't hate Monday mornings. You hate what you do.
Yeah.
You know? And that's the part that you understand. You need to enjoy what you're doing. Right. And you need to show the world that you're enjoying what you're doing. Because if you enjoy what you do, that means that you're going to do right by them.
That's right.
Right? And that's the key thing that we need to understand on that, right? And, be number one and top of mind.
That's right.
Because average person knows 5 agents right now.
Yep.
Right? And so we need to know the tias, the primas, everybody needs to know that you're the number one. That's it. No one else. No one else matters at that point. And when you're a closer, they ain't calling number 2 no more.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
See, we don't have a lead generation problem. We have a lead conversion problem. Right?
That's good.
That's the problem that we got going on. And why would we have that? Because we don't do the trainings. We don't go out there, do a role playing. We don't go out do the work. We're not learning and adjusting our conversations with our clients. We're not understanding exactly what we need to do. We're not asking enough questions.
Right.
We're talking about us, me. Oh, I done this. I got this. Fuck what you're talking about. Ask the client questions. You're going to learn more about what their needs are. Once you find out their needs, then you can adjust your conversation towards that, and you can get the contract. You can close.
That's good.
But if you're not just talking about yourself because you're nervous, right? Because you're not confident. Why aren't you confident? Because you're not knowledgeable.
Yep.
Right? It all basically starts collapsing at that point.
Yeah.
Once you're knowledgeable, you get confident. Once you're confident, you now start talking about them or asking them questions because you're good. You know what to talk about yourself.
Yep.
Right? But you need to ask them questions in order to find out what their solution is going to be.
Yep.
But when you're not prepared, you go by default. Hey, my name is Edwin Acevedo. I've been doing this for 17 years. I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. I closed 12 deals and this and that. Nah, they don't care about you. Yeah. They care about what you can do for them.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But you're nervous. You don't know how to get there. You don't know how to navigate. You don't know how to mirror. You don't know how to build rapport. You don't know how to change tonality.
That's right.
You don't know how to pick up on things, on keywords.
Yep.
And anchor them. All those things are sales that we need to understand.
Yep.
But when we don't do that, you're not going to get the closing. So that's why we have a lead conversion problem. It's because we don't go to the trainings.
Yep.
We think that we're going to become this millionaire just by having a license.
Right.
That's not how it works.
Nope.
Got to put in the work. So that's the key, man.
It's interesting that you mentioned scripts, right? Mm-hmm. Scripts and role playing. I'm sure you guys do a lot of that, right?
We do a lot, but we make sure that we make it their own style.
Yeah, sure.
Right? We don't want to sound canned.
Right.
The other listener will know this person's reading the script.
Right.
But we want to make sure the framework's there.
Good.
The questions that should be asked are being asked.
Yes.
It's all by design.
Yep.
It's not just because some person got bored and wrote a script and say, ask these questions.
Yeah.
No, every question had a purpose.
Yes.
Right? When someone comes to me at the office saying, I got a seller lead, great, how much do they owe? I don't know. I didn't ask how much they owe. Well, then how do you know they're able to sell?
Right.
Or why are they selling? Oh, I didn't ask them why they're selling. Well, I need to know their motivation because that's going to be the anchor. When it gets tough, I need to remind them back to motivation, why you're selling in the first place.
Right.
Because it's going to get tough. Yes. They're going to get nervous. They're going to get cold feet. Let's bring it back to that motivation.
Yes.
Why are you selling? Remember why you're selling? Oh, that's right. I'm selling because my kids need to be in a better district, better school.
Yes.
Boom. Let's keep going.
That's right.
Right. But if it's just because of some fugazi, reason, we're not. Then it's going to fall apart later on.
That's right.
And then you're going to blame the world. Why this is happening to me? Oh, why is this escrow falling apart? Why is this happening to me? Should I get a limpia? No, it's not. It's because you should have. Everybody blames. That's the problem. Everybody blames everything else except for them. You should have set up the deal correctly from the beginning to prevent this from happening later on, right? Asking the right questions from the get-go, right? Versus just going and stumbling through a deal and making and having a fragile deal all the way out.
Yep.
It was bound to fail from the jump. Yeah. But if you had qualified correctly, right, and you had a solid seller lead or a buyer lead, it's going to close all the way.
Yep.
Right. And that's what we need to understand as sales is that we need to have these qualified seller leads versus just having a yes and that's it. We're good. Now they're going to sell because you wanted them to sell. In real estate, we're not selling Herbalife, guys. We're not.
Right.
We're selling the biggest asset of their lives.
Yep.
They're not just going to just sell because you show up at the door.
Right.
They've already had a conversation at the dinner table the night before about selling because they need to sell. And you just happen to show up.
Yep.
You showed up.
Yep.
Opportunity, met,
preparation.
Yeah, preparation right there. That's what it is.
Yep.
And so that's what we need to understand, that we just need to show up. Once you show up, you meet the opportunity, and that's how the activity happens. I mean, that's how success happens, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's that. Now, there's times where we do need to prepare our seller to sell.
Yes.
And I know there's one key instance, right? Now, I'll give you my my testimonial. We used to live in a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house in Pico Rivera, and it was 1,000 square feet. We had like 6, 7 family members already. And I remember my wife's family from Texas came over to sleep, and obviously they go to Universal Studios and what have you. There's one morning I woke up, got ready, and it was early, and I had to basically step over, kind of like dead bodies. They were all over the living room floor. They were in the couches, and I'm just like, damn, I didn't want to wake nobody up. I was tiptoeing, but they were all over the living room. And I get to the door, and I turn around, and I look, and I go, we need to move. We need to sell.
Yeah.
Right? But why did it take so long for me to realize that?
Yeah.
It's because I was so busy in my business and so focused on the business that nothing else mattered. When you're focused, what else happens on the side?
Right.
Blurry. Everything's blurry, right? Yep. Which you should have, horse blinders. They tell you have horse blinders on.
Yes.
So when your horse blinders on, everything else on the sides doesn't matter, such as we're outgrowing our house. Mm-hmm. So I had to snap out of it. Shit, I need to do something about it.
Yep.
Boom, top of mind, top of agenda. And we sure did that, right? We bought the house next door. We flipped it. We sold our house. Now we have a $1.4 million house now in the hills of Whittier.
Yeah.
And now we're doing our thing, right? At the end of the day, the part is that we need to also deprogram seller leads to make them realize that too. Right. They don't realize it too because they'll go to work 9 to 5.
Yep.
Sometimes they're not realizing they're outgrowing. The boy and girl that they had was cute living in one bedroom. Right. They're getting older. They become teenagers. Yep. It's no longer cute to have their son and daughter in the same bedroom.
Right.
You need to have more bedrooms now.
That's right.
Now you need to sell. Yep. So those type of experiences is where we have to have them realize it. And you do that by asking them questions.
Yes.
Not, you need to sell. No, ask them questions about their family. What's your family size? How long they've been living there? How many, do you have a son? Do you have a daughter? Oh, you have an 11-year-old. You have a 12-year-old daughter and 11-year-old son. You live in a 2-bedroom, 1-bath starter home. I think it's time for you to sell.
Yep.
You know what? You're right. I realize that. That's coming up.
That's right.
Remember, this wasn't your forever home. This was your starter. You needed to get into something.
Yeah.
So again, having those conversations is key. And I hope that those listeners who are real estate agents listening can at least say, man, okay, I get it now. This is something I need to start doing versus just going out there and putting stuff on social media.
Yes. One of the things I realized, you brought up a lot of great points. And to your points, to one of your points, sales is a lot about asking the right questions, right? And positioning things right. Mm-hmm. Being interested instead of trying to be interesting.
Love it.
Right? And so you asked a lot of great questions there. And it's true because that gives you the ammo that you need to make the sale. And that's what a professional does it. And the more that you do it, the more that you practice it. In martial arts, we say drillers are killers, meaning you drill the framework. Mm-hmm. Yes, like we have scripts. We believe in scripts, but I say you got to make these scripts your own. You don't have to say them exactly word for word, but this is a framework and these are the questions, right? You make it your own. Maybe some people say use the word people. Other people use the word folks because that's how you talk. Make it your own. Yes. Be yourself, but you got the framework that works, right? Then you practice it over and over. You talked about earlier. You master the mundane. Right. And because you practice it over and over, the mind forgets, the body remembers. You don't have to think about it. And I remember in martial arts, I would experience this. When I would go compete and I didn't train as well as I should have, I had to think like, oh, if he does this, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to try this, and then I'll do this. And then if he does this, I'm going to do this. When you're trained, you don't think about what if I do. You don't think. Your body just does what you need to do because you're prepared. The mind forgets, the body remembers. So I remember I went to a meeting 2 weeks ago. I don't really go, especially I do mostly via Zoom sales. But I still sometimes take appointments, right? I'm more now as a VP, I'm more into training and recruiting, right? And so, but we have a lot of people that are selling a whole lot. But there was one lead in Downey. I live in Downey, right? So the agent had gone twice, not closed the deal, but the customer was interested. I said, schedule that appointment. It's like a $1.3 million house, so it's a big system. I said, schedule the appointment for me, I'll go. So I go there, and I realize, yes, there's some resistance, but the customer is begging to get closed. But sometimes a newer sales rep doesn't have the questions, doesn't have the ways of getting the deal signed. Right. So, yeah, it took about 2 hours because the customer's daughter was there she was reading the contract, every single thing of the contract. And there was 2 objections that she needed. And then the agent later told me that's why I didn't close the deal, because of these objections, I didn't have the answer. I said, guess what? Those same 2, I didn't have the answer. I said, no problem. Here's what we'll do. Let's go ahead and get you guys going so we can lock in this interest, so we can lock in the site survey, and I'm going to get you the answer to those questions, okay? Because it was on the contract. I'm not going to spend all this time reading the contract. Right. I'd rather have the experts that drew up the contract tell me where it's at. Long story short, we get the deal closed, you know what I mean, and walk out. Then I get them the answers via text. Everything is good to go. The deal's moving forward. But that's because of so much practice, not only on the field with customers, but also I practiced it over here, right? I remembered the scripts. I remember the questions, right? Because you got to be prepared. I think one of the keys to selling is, yes, you got to know the scripts, you got to know all that, but number one is you got to be prepared. Knowing the scripts and the framework is being prepared. Knowing the questions is being prepared. A lot of people say, oh, you got to be charismatic and you got to be on time. All of those stuff is helpful and true, but you got to be prepared. And most people don't spend enough time on the preparation. They wing it. And when you mentioned earlier about people saying, oh, I need a limpia, that means a cleanse for the people that don't know, right? So don't do none of that witchcraft shit. You don't need none of that shit. But here's the thing, though. Right. They'll blame anything but themselves. Yes. I see people say, oh, it's because of this. Why is this happening to me? I'll tell you why it's happening to you. Because of you. Go look in the mirror and you'll find why this is happening. Because you're not consistent. Because you're not disciplined. Because you didn't fill up the pipeline enough. There's sometimes people got 5 deals on the way to escrow or the way to install, in my case, but you didn't add more. So then 2 or 3 of them have issues. One turns out not to qualify. One has a delay. Guess what? Oh, shoot, this one is not enough, but you didn't put nothing in the pipeline. You're the reason why you're in a, but you should get to a point where if 1, 2, 3 deals fall, cool, let me keep going. I got more in the pipeline. There's been times where deals have fallen. I'm like, you know what? That client was a pain in the ass. I'm kind of glad it fell. I got so much work to do. I got so many deals and I got so many appointments. I'm not worried about that. And I also don't have commission breath, right?
Yes. And you get commission breath because you're desperate.
That's right.
You weren't working in the beginning in the first place. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's the thing about, we need to understand, we're a business. We are a walking business. Yes. We are a business. You don't see McDonald's closing down after it sold 100 Big Macs for the day.
Right.
They keep selling.
Yes.
You don't see, okay, we sold 20 Big Macs or 100 Big Macs. It's 1 o'clock. Let's call it a day. Let's turn the sign to close and let's go home. It's a business. And at the end of the day, we keep going no matter what.
Yes.
And we have a system in the background.
Yes.
Right? You mentioned winging it, right? And a lot of cats wing it because they're not understanding the actual part of business, right? And that's having a list of home. When I go to Macy's and I use my credit card to buy some clothes for the kids, whatever, I'm getting a shitload of emails now from Macy's.
Yeah.
Hey, coupons here, coupons this. They're doing that because they want me to come back and spend more money on that store again.
Yes.
The same thing we should be doing. Once we close a deal, what should we do? right? Go pass out the flyers, the postcards, just sold. Hey, guys, I just sold this house in this neighborhood. Who else wants me to help them sell this house in the neighborhood? We don't do that. What we do is we close the deal. We never look back. We enjoy a commission check. We just hang out for a bit, and that's it. We don't talk. We don't go back to our past clients no more. Like, hey, is there anything else you need from me? You know, hey, I'm still around. You know, I just sold. I don't door knock the area. Hey, I just let you know that this house down the street, I sold it for 1.275. Just want to know if you want anyone that's trying to buy or sell. Oh no, you don't. Okay, how about yourself? You know, when do you plan on moving? Right. Again, making those contacts, but we don't do that. We just close the deal and move on. And then you have nothing to show for behind that. Right. And that's the problem that we need to have. We need to kind of correct is having those type of having those type of structure like a database, like CRM. Having a schedule. Right. The more disciplined schedule you have, the more freedom you have. Right. The more compact schedule you got, the more freedom you're gonna have in your day. Because once you get to work, you have a schedule. You're gonna have 2-3 hours of pure prospecting. No one's gonna bother you. You're not gonna hang out by the water cooler talking about what happened over the weekend, and all the other stuff. Like, oh, what's going on? Hey, bro, let's go have lunch. Let's go have a 3-hour fucking lunch. Like, come on, shut the fuck. Like, come on, man. Let's go do this. We close the one deal. Let's go have a 3-4. No. Guess what happens? You freaking drink. It's Wednesday. It's Thursday night. Friday Junior. And then at that point, you drink. Friday, you drink. Saturday, you drink because you're going on and on. Sunday, okay, you may drink because you're hungover. And then Monday, you're feeling like shit. Tuesday, you feel like shit, but not much. Wednesday is still there, but you're a little groggy. All right, I feel better. Now Thursday, all right, I feel better. Thursday night, you drink again. So that's why I stopped drinking, man. You know, it's been 5 years since I stopped drinking. It's been 5 years for me now. And I'm truly focused, man, at this point. Good. So that's key, man. So it's key that we need to understand that we need to be focused and understand that we're a business.
That's right.
You know,
and you are, as a sales professional, you got to look at yourself as a business. So therefore, you got to invest in your business. Time and money. And you talk about the drinking and the long lunches. It trips me out sometimes when I would see some of my real estate friends, some of my, insurance, everybody, right? One thing I do know is that realtors, they like to party, bro. Realtors like to party,
I don't blame them.
I
don't blame them. I mean, it is what it is. It's an industry full of partying and I'm not gonna. Here's the thing. I'm not gonna preach and say don't drink alcohol. I'm not because I haven't had a drink for 5 years doesn't mean I'm gonna go out there and start preaching don't drink alcohol.
Right.
I just wasn't right for me. I made the adjustments for me because I knew what was important.
You need it.
I reached that crossroad. Right? One was easy, one was hard. The hard one was the good for me. The easy one was the one that I continued to hit every single time. Make a left, make a left, make a left.
That's how it is,
Eventually hit the last crossroad. I said, this one I need to make a right. And the hard one was an upper hill battle, but I did. And that was the best decision I could have made. And you get to see that over time. Now, I'm clear-minded 7 days a week.
That's good.
So Saturday morning, I'm clear-minded. Let's go. Vamos, pilas. Vamos. Where am I going to get into today? What project am I going to do? What appointments do I have? Versus, fuck. Man, what a night last night. That was good. I impressed people with my spending on a bottle. Oh, yeah, who gives a fuck about those people? They don't care. They're not around no more, right? And so you're like, that night, those lives that I used to have, it doesn't matter no more, man. Nope. Those people that was around, they're not doing shit. They're not, and they're still not doing shit.
And a lot of those people are only going to be around if you're right there supplying.
And they don't call me no more.
Right.
Because they know I don't drink. They're like, he's no fun no more. I don't care about no fun. I'm fun to my family.
That's right.
That's what I care about. You know what I mean? I'm taking to New York next week. I'm glad I have that than having to spend that money on at freaking back then Joseph's, right? Whatever it was back in the days. So for me, family's more important as we get older and the right people, right? And so it's that and those hours, extra hours that you're gaining because of not having hangovers are being compounded over time. Kobe Bryant used to go to the gym at 4 or 3 in the morning each day. While the regular basketball player used to come in at 7, 8 in the morning. That's 4-hour difference each day.
It compounds.
So you compounds every year. By the time the basketball player realizes I need to compete with Kobe, it's too late. Years have been put in there.
That's right.
Of just extra work that he did not put. So for me, I'm doing that every single weekend. Every Friday, Saturdays, I'm here, man. My face could have been bloated right now.
Right.
Right? You would have known because I drank last night, Thursday night.
Right.
But I'm not. I'm clear. I'm good to go. I'm present.
Yep.
I'm present with my family. I'm able to engage on things I got to do. This decision making is crisp.
Yes.
It's crisp. It's quality decision making. That's one thing about being clear-minded. You make quality decision making. You make less mistakes, and you keep going forward. I said the last 5 years, I've done more in the last 5 years than the last 20 years.
Wow.
Right? And things are just getting started.
And that's what I say. You say 5 years. Couple things. I say all the time, if you ever felt life wasn't fair, it takes 5 years to make life fair. 5 years of good decisions. And, you mentioned about right decisions, bad decisions. The right thing to do and the hard thing to do, 95% of the time are the same thing. The right thing and the hard thing are the same thing. Like not going out with my friends and drinking and stuff, staying home so I can be clear-minded tomorrow. That's the right thing to do, but it's also harder because this other one is tempting, right? But then eventually it becomes a habit. And first we create our habits, then our habits create us, right? And so I tell people, if you ever felt that life wasn't fair, 5 years of consistency, of discipline, finding whatever your system is, talking to people that are already there, saying, tell me, coach, give me the game plan. I will follow the game plan to the T. You go out there and you have the discipline to do that for 5 years, just about anybody can make their life fair, could have a completely different life in 5 years. But the problem is that people look at 5 years like this. 2024, 5 years, wow, that's 2029. You got to look at it from an outside perspective. Let's say this is 100 years that you're going to live. The good book, the Bible says you can live to 120. I'm going to live to 120 or I'm going to die trying, right? So some people will get that later. 120, let's say 100 years. 5 years, we're talking about this. 5 years ago, 2020, 2019, right before the pandemic, that wasn't that long ago.
Right.
So you got the lifespan. This is what we're asking for in those 5 years to make life fair. Is it worth it? It's absolutely worth it. The juice is worth the squeeze, but most people, they're not willing to do it. But also some people, they have it because nobody's really put it into perspective. So that's why people that listen to podcasts like this, some of them things start to click. They say, you know what? That makes sense. I never looked at it that way. 5 years, at the end of the day, and in the course of my life, that's not a long time. But like you got 5 years already of not drinking. So you were already successful then, but I know that you've been more successful since you stopped drinking. You had more discipline, right? Your life has changed. 5 years.
It's a backpack I was carrying this whole time.
Wow.
It was a 100-pound backpack that I was running with the others. And I was still keeping up with this 100-pound backpack. And eventually, I let go of that.
Right.
And now I'm just running circles,
right?
Just around life at the end of the day. Because now my truly God-given gift is realized right now, right? And I turned it around. This mindset, because there's times where I said, God, why me? Why was it me that you gave me the inability, and I can get personal and transparent, inability to drink? Why, God, did you strike me with that?
Wow.
Right?
Yep.
Why others can drink good and be good? Why me? And I turned around and said, God gave me the ability to drink so I can realize my true gift that he gave me, right? Which was what I'm doing now, right? And that's empower other people, lead other people, and be a good example and be strong for my family and things that I always had in me, right? One of my mentors from the whole drinking situation asked me this question. He goes, and it was very profound when he asked me this. I didn't realize what he was trying to get at. It was, Edwin, when was your first drink? When was your first drink in your life?
Right.
And I go, man, I was a late bloomer. I actually drank after high school. My first drink was in Rosaritos at Papas and Beer that Labor Day because we just graduated. And it was Sex on the Beach because that was the first drink because it was the beach and we're in the Rosaritos. And ever since then, my life changed because I enjoyed it. And literally like seconds, minutes later, this girl comes up to me and gives me a kiss in the mouth. I'm like, what the hell? And she walks away. He goes, oh shit. And I look at my drink like, damn, is this, that was it. That was the turning point of me. Like, I ain't turning back. And I was having the time of my life. I was making up for time loss, whether people were drinking in high school. I'm sure they were. Of course they were. And that was that, right? And so there I was. I still went to school, still went to, got my bachelor's and still got my business going. But I was always going. I was still working at a mediocre level, right?
Yeah.
And so he asked me this question: how was your life before the first drink? What were you doing? What was stood out in your life? You know, obviously all I had was high school, and I go, well, I graduated with a 4.19 GPA. I was a straight A student.
Damn.
I never got a B. Top 10 in my high school, all that stuff. Things was easy. I didn't do it because my parents were pushing me. I was just because shit was easy.
Wow.
I was just easy.
Yeah.
So he goes, guess what? What? You're now 8 months sober at the time. Okay. You're about to see that life again. But now you're not in high school no more. You're now in real life.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if you excel once again like you were in high school, but now in real life as a 39-year-old.
Wow.
You know, doing the same things.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at this like, shit. And sure enough, in these 5 years, I'm getting straight A's again.
Yeah.
In life.
Yeah.
You know?
That's good.
And I'm just continuing to do what I'm doing. And so, again, it goes back to the whole God-given ability, gift that sometimes people have. We don't know that.
Yep.
And have a thing, too, that our soul is already at the place we want to be. Right? Our soul, our spirit is already at the place they want to be. What I mean by that is that every soul is different. That's why you see people that are happy as hell and may not have as much money as the next person.
Right.
Right? They're happy with their family. They're good, living modest, you know. And that person, that family, that person is happier than the person with a mansion.
Yes.
Because their soul is already there where they're meant to be in their life. And our soul is not there yet. And so our soul is pushing us every single day to get there, telling us, hey, man, hey, JC, let's go. We're not there yet. And so that's called ambition.
Right.
That's called the drive that we have, our inner drive.
Right.
It's basically our soul talking to us, telling us, hey, we're not done yet. I'm already there. Keep going. You know, let's go.
Yep.
Until we're there yet, then I'll stop. I'll leave you alone. Right? And I think we're cursed sometimes because even when we get there, there's another thing we want to get to.
Yeah.
And we just continue to want to drive every single day. And, you know, we're at a place where like, man, you got it made. I don't feel like I got it made. What I thought is like, well, not there. Wait, this is it? Like, shit, okay. Well, now I need to become a multi, you know, and I need to do this, do that. Yeah. So those are the type of things that keeps you driving, right?
Yes.
Is that spirit, your soul, it keeps you going, right?
Yep.
And I want to make sure that you know, there's a saying that if I'm at my deathbed, the biggest fear you got, right, is the yourself coming up to your deathbed, the actual person that you could have become,
right,
or walking up to your deathbed saying, "This is who could have been you." And that's my biggest fear in life, is seeing that Edwin saying, "Damn, that's the person I could have become. I did not make that, and I didn't do that because of the decisions I did not make."
That's right.
The hard and right decisions.
That's right.
In life,
it, bro. No, that's powerful. That's very deep, because it's true, right? We have that potential of. I hear Miles talking about something like that as well. And yes, what if one day we are introduced to that version of ourselves, right? I want to get as close to that version too. I think about that sometimes too, man, and it's so profound, and that's one of the things that drives me too, right? Is I want to be that person, and I want to. Somebody said this. They said, I want to become the best version of myself and give that person to the world. Right? So I want to give that person to my children, my wife, my colleagues, people that work for me. I want to give that person and inspire other people. And I think right now, more than ever before, leadership is needed tremendously. We need more strong men. There isn't as many, in my opinion, strong men as there used to be, right? The world that we live in is a crazy world, man. And I was talking to one of our common friends, Eloy, and he was talking about putting together some kind of course for entrepreneurship and also to teach youngsters about the right mindset, about entrepreneurship and things like that. And I think those are things, I know those are not things that are being taught in school. I just posted before we came here this morning about how entrepreneurship is the key, and that is not taught in school, right? A bunch of things are taught in school. The school system is designed to create employees, and it's a way outdated system. That's why entrepreneurship is so key, right? So, Edwin, I had an amazing time here with you, bro. You dropped a lot of bombs, a lot of nuggets. How can people find you on social media, bro?
Instagram, the Lotus Broker.
Okay.
the Lotus Broker.
Perfect.
And I'm still on Facebook, older crowd, but I'm
me
there
too.
too. And, just find my name, Edwin Acevedo, on there. But I'm not on TikTok yet, but my son is slowly trying to get me there.
Nice.
But eventually I'll get there. I mean, I'm on TikTok, but I'm not active. But mostly right now, the Lotus Broker on Instagram.
Very nice. Very
Appreciate
nice.
it, brother.
Well, no, I appreciate you.
No, I just want to thank you for inviting me to be part of your podcast,
thank you,
man.
man.
And I know that we were gonna have a great fire conversation.
Yeah, we did.
I always respected what you have always said, and keep leading the way, man.
Thank you,
Good
my
stuff,
brother.
Great
Well,
things.
no, thank you. This wouldn't be possible if you didn't come on, man. So I appreciate you, my friend.
Yeah, for sure, you got it, man.
Thank you, brother. Let's make it happen, man.
Yeah, you got it.
All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure you guys like and comment, and make sure you guys follow Edwin. And I'll see you on the next episode. Take care.